In just over 24 hours, the debut of Force Pro Wrestling will be made in Edmonton once again. And welcome into the WCSN Broadcast Center here in Edmonton. Mike Malowany, known as the Ref. I'm your voice of Force Pro Wrestling. And joining me for the pre-show this month, Spencer Love.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Very excited to be here, not only because I loaned you the name of the flagship podcast of the WCSN, but because, as you mentioned, it's Force Pro Wrestling. It is back after a 1.5-year hiatus, and something that a ton of Edmonton wrestling fans, I know myself included, are very, very excited for. Lots of great talent, a couple of great matches announced, and a great new venue.
Absolutely. And folks, if you don't know the origins of Force Pro Wrestling, I think Spencer covered that very well here in a previous podcast he just did.
Absolutely. The history of debuting on the WCSN, talking with my guest, of course, the first week, Tex Gaines, the founder, the head promoter here of Force Pro Wrestling, and a heck of an individual. Check out the interview. You're not listening for me. You're listening because of him, but he is a big reason why we are all here today. Force Pro Wrestling, as mentioned, man, I just am so excited. But it's back.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to calling the first show. For people checking out this live stream, we just want to let you know there will be a live look-in available on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. We are going to have our hard cam shot into the ring. You're going to be able to hear myself, and I'm still haven't been told who my color commentator is.
Really?
I've been told that I'm going to find out today, but I haven't heard anything yet. But
dude, they don't tell me anything. I just interview.
Well, the reason we're here, and as much as you love the advertising, let's get to us here. The reason we're here,
they like us.
The reason we're here is to blaze a path in terms of what's going to be happening here with the WCSN and Force Pro Wrestling, and we're going to give you a preview of tonight's special, because we're going to give you a preview of the 2 matches announced, as well as a preview of the roster that is going to be at this card. So.
For sure, and while matches are left to be announced, we are very, very excited about the 2 that they have brought to us so far. You mentioned blazing a trail, and where better to kick off the reincarnation of Force Pro Wrestling than with God's gift to wrestling himself, Michael Richard Blais, taking on Dylon Stone, Mr. Saturday Night, in the first match in a 1.5 years for FPW. Absolutely,
and anybody who hasn't heard the accolades of Michael Richard Blais, I'm sorry, you're living under a rock right now. He is one of the most talented wrestlers, not in one of the major companies right now. And I'm not just saying that in Canada. I'm saying that throughout the entire world right now.
Yeah, man, you'd be completely right. There's a reason that guys like Joey Janela, Cody Rhodes, TJ Wilson are all chasing after this guy. The phrase hottest free agent in Canada is a very, very overused phrase, but there's a reason that guys are chasing after him and giving him the accolade of the best in the country. God's gift to wrestling is a moniker he earned. He wasn't given. He wasn't self-inflicted. That's a name that he received because he is just so damn good.
But one thing we got to mention here is his opponent, Dylon Stone, Mr. Saturday Night, or Mr. Friday Night in this case. He may be the most underrated talent that we have in Alberta today. My biggest match that I've seen with Dylon Stone, not only last year did he have a 35-minute classic with a man we're going to talk about later on. I'm not spoiling that name yet. But also he went toe-to-toe for 20 minutes with the former Ring of Honor champion, Matt Taven.
Absolutely, man. And you mentioned underrated, and I don't think that there's anybody who underestimates just how good Dylon Stone really is. But he is a guy who needs to get more eyes on him. He's had the disservice of appearing where he maybe hasn't had the audience that he's deserved in front of him. So, like you mentioned, Matt Taven is a guy he's gone toe-to-toe with. Dirty Inc. here in Alberta. There are a ton of individuals that not only he's gone up against, but he's defeated. And looking at Michael Richard Blais, man, the guy is God's gift to wrestling. He is one of the best in the business. But anytime he's facing up with a new opponent over the last little bit, whether you look at a Zoe Sager, whether you look at, again, a man with 2 minds, as he likes to say himself, he hasn't really come up as the victor in a lot of those matches. So it'll be interesting to see how him and Stone match up as truly an Alberta Indie Dream match.
Absolutely. I know throughout the year 2019, the term Alberta Dream match was bandied about, talked about, so many incarnations of it. this one definitely fits into the category.
I agree, and as I saw was commented online, this isn't even an Alberta new dream match for some people. There are a lot of independent wrestling fans out there, like you mentioned, through Power Slam TV, through the VOD channels that we're going to be hosting ourselves. You get the chance to experience some wrestlers from areas that you wouldn't really get the opportunity to. So these two getting their names out there, wrestling for a company like Force Pro is going to be absolutely huge for the both of them.
Absolutely. But I think from there, we're talking about dream matches. Anybody who follows me on Facebook,
All six of you?
All 6 of you. I made it poignantly clear to yesterday when this comes out that the reason I came out of retirement to become the voice of Force Pro Wrestling was simply because of this match.
Absolutely, man.
Zoe Sager, Kayla Jay.
What else do you have to say about it? These are two women who, despite the fact that they didn't train with the same individuals, have remarkably similar career paths. Both of them early in their careers capturing championships. Kayla, of course, the only 3-time champion in her respective promotion prior to this. Zoe Sager,
the only 3-time champion, period, I do believe.
There we are. See, you're singing the accolades better than I am. Zoe Sager, of course, the first ever PWA women's champion in the reincarnated version of the belt. These are two of the best, and I said it in my article for the WCSN, but the accolades don't even speak to how good these two really are for how short, truly, they have been wrestling in the real scope of the industry.
Absolutely. Like, I am looking forward to this match because they're not the same style, but they are similar.
Absolutely.
They know how to fight. They know how to wrestle. They could take this match any 15 different ways on there. So
absolutely, man. You and I were talking about this prior to the show, and it's a lot like picking a character in Mario Kart. All of them have their respective strengths, but no one is truly weak anywhere. And I think you may see Zoe with a bit of a power advantage as far as this goes, but like, she's a bulldog in there, man. But you could say the same about Kayla Jay, and she's developed a bit of a new attitude. She's got a new swagger in the ring that's really served her well over the last little bit, and I think that it'll serve her well coming up on Friday night.
Well, both of them have come up with a certain level of swagger here. It simply could come down to that bulldog X factor of Zoe Sager and the super kick of Kayla Jay.
Both deadly, both you can hit out of anywhere. It's truly Alberta's version of the RKO, man. It's deadly, it is quick, and it'll knock out the best of them. And
folks, don't forget, get your tickets now for this card. If you're in the Edmonton area, get down here to see it. Tickets are only $15 for adults, 10 for kids.
But not only that, they are 65% sold out at the time of this, which is a first-time show in Edmonton. I guess in a year and a half, I should always give that caveat, but everybody is excited about Force Pro Wrestling, you and I included, my friend.
It's been a lot longer in Edmonton itself. That year and a half ago, that was up in Grand Prairie of all places.
There we are.
Nice and isolated, but...
Nice-olated.
Nice-olated. There we go. We have a new word in our dictionary that we'll be using now. But I think it's time for a quick commercial break here right now. We're going to come back and let's do the roster reveal.
Absolutely. Let's chat about the great members who are going to be here Friday, October 18th at 11602 119th Street here in Edmonton, Alberta. We'll be right back here on OTTR Live.
This Friday, 11602 119th Street, Edmonton, Alberta. It's about new beginnings. It's a fresh start for Force Pro Wrestling. It's the start of a new era in Alberta independent professional wrestling. Hell, in professional wrestling of all Canada. Because we have assembled a roster filled with some of the very best there is. But you see, new beginnings are old. There's one constant. There's one thing that doesn't change, and it never has. I don't change. I'm the constant. I am God's gift to wrestling. Michael, Richard, Blais. I am better than the best. And I am that until I choose to walk away. Until I say otherwise. So like I said, new beginnings or old, there's one constant. And Dylon Stone, this Friday, you're gonna find out exactly what that is. See you all there.
Oh, tomorrow night, this Friday night, you're gonna see, for the first time ever, the marquee matchup. Dylon Stone against Michael Richard Blais, God's gift to wrestling. But you gotta ask yourself, why is it this is the first time you're seeing this marquee main event? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. MRB's been scared. For 4 years I've been back. 4 long years, Michael Richard Blais, that you've been sitting getting fat on the top of the card while I've been grinding at the bottom. Coming up, coming up, coming up. And now that I'm at that pinnacle, that I'm right here with you, I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you really better than the best? Because you ain't beat me, Michael Richard Blais. Michael Richard Blais, you have not beaten Dylon Stone. So tomorrow night, Friday night, it's really Saturday night, baby, and I'm going all night long. I'll see you there, kid.
All right, folks, we're back here with the over-the-top rope preview for the prelude of Force Pro Wrestling.
You betcha. October 18th at 11602 119th Street in Edmonton, Alberta. Right by Nate. You can park in Canadian Tire. They've really solved literally every problem you could have coming out to this show, including the problem of who is going to wrestle on the show, because they've lined up some absolute bangers, man.
Absolutely. And we got 6 release, I guess.
Well, 5 names here to release. Of course, we previously spoiled on Facebook earlier today.
Damn you!
Spaceman Barry Grayson will be on the card this Friday, October 18th at the Force Pro Wrestling, the Prelude. Not the Force Pro Wrestling. This isn't Star Wars. This is pro wrestling.
Well,
Plus, they trademarked the Force.
fair enough. Well, let's talk about Barry Grayson here. He's been coming on in the last year here.
Well, and I quite like him, man. Since he's developed this tag team with the Titan and the Prairie Wrestling Alliance, I really think that this has allowed both of them to come into their own. But especially on Barry Grayson's end, because when he came in, maybe not the most powerful dude, maybe not the most agile dude, but pairing with a guy like the Titan, when somebody's proverbially got your back, you get that confidence behind you. And I think since he's had that happen, like you've seen the high-flying skill set he brings to this thing, he's a much more agile dude. He's put some weight on. He's looking like a true guy to watch, not only in Force Pro Wrestling this Friday, but just a staple of the Albertan independent wrestling scene going forward.
Absolutely. And the one thing I find is the fans have really gravitated to him. To me, that's one of the biggest things.
And it's ironic for a guy named the Spaceman, hey?
What could I say? I could throw some humdingers out there.
Plus, how can you be mad at a guy who throws glow sticks to the crowd when he comes in, right?
Well, speaking of somebody who throws something, and for me, it's whether he's throwing shade or he's throwing joy. We don't know what's going on minute to minute with this guy. But one thing you can say is he is one of the top wrestlers in Alberta, if not Canada. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned him earlier. The man known as Pride will be on Force Pro Wrestling.
I was wondering where you were going when you were talking about the two of them. Yes, Jack Pride on the card for this Friday. The accolades are endless, man. He's won numerous championships across numerous promotions. Far too many to name as far as I'm concerned. But the guy has gone up against some of the best of the best. We mentioned Michael Richard Blais. He'll be facing off with him again at Fright Night on October 26th, scoring the winning pin at the PWA's last show, I believe Destiny in Calgary. He started off strong since the PWA turn happened. He started off strong in his previous promotions. He's obviously won a couple of championships himself, and just one of the most exciting guys out there. There's always something that he seems to add that's new into his skill set, whether it be bringing the Swanton Bomb in, whether it be Swallowed Pride. Like, the guy is an absolute stud. He was one of my guys to watch in 2018. When I talked to him earlier this year, he was one of my guys to watch in 2019. I would hazard a guess, Mike, he's going to be one of my guys to watch in 2020 as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of 2018, my personal match of 2018 was the match that he and Dylon Stone had in Red Deer with the CWC back in August, as I drop our recording devices.
Match card.
Go figure. Match card. I don't even have a match card.
Preview.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call it even. We both screwed it up.
I screw things up all the time. Anyway, back to it here. Pride, pound for pound, may be one of the top wrestlers in the world. And if you guys check out the Backbreaker Media YouTube page, I did post the original match between MRB and Pride from Radway, Alberta. A 27-minute absolute barn burner.
And what many called the inaugural Alberta Indie Dream Match. If we want to bring the phrase back to its origins, there it is for you, folks.
Absolutely. But let's go on to our third member on the roster here.
Well, and I think it's a guy that I always want to talk about, so I'm going to let you pick up a little bit here. One of the greatest to come out of the Prairie Wrestling Alliance in the past few years, a former champion as recently as this couple of months ago. Sheikh Akbar Shabazz making his debut for Force Pro Wrestling's reincarnated edition this Friday, October 18th.
Absolutely. Sheikh Akbar Shabazz, the Grand Slam champion, has won every championship in the Prairie Wrestling Alliance. And to me, he's one of those guys that is always there. He's always in the title picture no matter what. And it just seems that any time he can pop in one or two quick moves and he can win himself a title. And as far as I'm concerned, he could be the top wrestler here in Force Pro Wrestling.
I wouldn't disagree with you, man. Sheikh Akbar Shabazz is a guy who, yes, he's a big dude, and yes, he obviously brings a ton of power to his game, but he's scary agile for a guy as tall as he is, you know? I don't think I've ever seen a guy brought down in the Prairie Wrestling Alliance with a pure strike. The only time I've ever watched it happen was actually at NXT TakeOver when Matt Riddle hit him with a knee, and if he's the guy who has to take you down, you're in some pretty good company as far as that goes. He's a huge asset, not only for the PWA, but for Force Pro Wrestling to be bringing in. He's a guy who's widely known across Alberta and should hopefully bring a ton more people to the already almost sold-out venue here.
The only thing I'm worried about in this matchup here is Andy Anderson around. Because right now, Sheikh is razor-focused on dealing with Andy Anderson, and any opponent that he gets in the ring here for this show could be in big trouble.
Absolutely, but anytime you've got to rely on an extraneous situation like an Andy Anderson, like a surprise attacker, like the sky falling in, you can't rely on something like that, because if that's what you're relying on, especially when you're going in against a guy like Sheikh Akbar Shabazz, you're going to end pretty poorly.
Absolutely, and you know what? Let's move on to our next roster reveal. We're okay with that?
I'm completely fine with it, Mike.
Folks, I'm horrible at transitions. I'll be first to admit it here. But let's go with one of the people that I've seen in more than one promotion and has developed into what could be one of the top developing wrestlers in Alberta right now. And he's one half of the PWA Tag Team Champions. Aiden Adams will be here as part of Force Pro Wrestling.
I said it in my last article when I was talking about the Prairie Wrestling Alliance, but Aiden Adams could wrestle a broomstick and have a great match. The word workhorse gets thrown around a ton in pro wrestling. Far, far too much in pro wrestling as far as I'm concerned, but you will not find a proverbial better bout machine than Aiden Adams as far as Alberta goes. The guy can work with anybody. He can work a variety of styles. The former Bosnian Adonis is an absolute stud. Anytime he's in the ring, I am excited to watch him. People fear wrestling him for all the right reasons. He is a huge addition. Underrated isn't the right word, but definitely somebody who may come out and surprise some people on Friday for sure, Mike.
Absolutely. The reason I say underrated is the fact that he's gotten a lot of shots for tag team gold, but when it comes to singles championships, up until last August, he never got a shot at the heavyweight championship. Mm-hmm. And he ended up in the finals of that tournament with the Fury Kennedy for the PWA championship in Calgary last August. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was a proving point, because he had to take out Sean Moore in that tournament. Yeah. And he did, to move on, and came within a hair of winning that championship.
Yeah, and I've been lucky enough to speak to Aiden Adams a couple of times on the podcasts, on the shows, on the various what-have-yous we have here at the WCSN, but the biggest reason that he said he's not chasing the singles gold right now is because he is so successful in that partnership with Kenny Stryker. And I know he's not coming over at the current moment, but the above-average Joes, they have to be in consideration for one of the top tag teams in Canada, and Aiden Adams is a large part of that. I think that if they didn't see that same success as a tag team, maybe you would see him a little more in the singles division, for lack of a better way to put it, or chasing singles gold. But when you've got something that good, you don't really need to chase for greener pastures.
Absolutely. Well, Spencer, let's get to our next member on the roster
Next
here.
competitor,
Next
next
competitor.
entrant.
Wow, a man without words right now is going to be your voice. That's going to be great here. Go ahead.
That's okay. A man without height is going to be your backstage interviewer, so we'll be completely okay.
Wow.
Another champion. Why not keep with champions in the Prairie Wrestling Alliance? This is a guy who over the last little bit has truly become a single star. I don't use that phrase lightly. Reed Matthews, the thickness heading over to Force Pro Wrestling. You know, I think, again, you talk about Aiden Adams. Maybe the thickness was a guy who up until about a year and a half ago was someone who was mainly relegated to being a tag team wrestler, or someone who was more in the faction division, quote unquote, as far as the pro wrestling scene went. But since being kicked out of the Millennial Rebels and proverbially losing everything, he's truly taken it to the next level. I'm very, very excited to see him come over. The Mayhem champion has defended not only against pretty well everybody, but in every iteration he possibly could. You know, if things go well for him, he'll be defending the Mayhem championship in a battle royal at the Calgary Saddle Dome on November 2nd. How many Mayhem champions do you think can say that?
None. And the fact is, you're getting dumped out of the ring onto ice.
You're not going to have a lot of fun with that, but you've seen some of the stuff that the guy's done. He's not only a great professional wrestler, but you look back at the hardcore match he had with Colton Kelley back at the anniversary show. Some of the stuff that guy not only took and kept persevering. It's the true Rocky mentality behind things. It's not about how hard you're hit. It's about how hard you're hit and you get back up. And Reed Matthews, time and time again, has proven he can do it. So no matter who he ends up facing, whether it be the biggest, the smallest, the most medium person in the ring, he's going to do great. Very excited to have him here.
Absolutely. And you spoke about our last member on the roster here coming up on October 18th at Fort Pro Wrestling, the Prelude, Colton Kelley. And I'm going to tell you, folks, Colton Kelley brings a certain edge to Force Pro Wrestling that it always wants. He's a hardcore individual. He is an angry individual, and he's just got that certain level of is very hard to see in a young developing wrestler these days.
Whenever somebody's dream match is New Jack, you're always a little bit hesitant about what they can or can't do to their own bodies in the ring. Colton Kelley, and I say this with no hesitation whatsoever, is the most sadistic man in Albertan professional wrestling. And the only reason I'm even limiting that to Alberta, Mike, is because I haven't gone out of Alberta enough to see how sadistic some of those people out there are. Colton Kelley is a bad dude. There's a reason that he has not only grown his reputation as one of the most hardcore guys out there, but truly planted his flag as the most hardcore guy out there. There's a very, very small amount of people in Alberta that you could say are doing hardcore matches, death matches, taking tack bumps, that sort of thing. If that's what you're looking for, you won't find better than Colton Kelley.
But you know what? We can't take away his wrestling ability either.
Absolutely.
He is a former tag team champion in the PWA, and there is a good reason for that. He has the technical ability, and anytime he needs to throw it out, he will. But he just prefers to beat people up. And that's what Force Pro Wrestling's all about. Just go out there and beat the living crap out of you.
We are here to entertain no matter how it may be. Colton Kelley is personally a guy who I got thoroughly invested in, as you mentioned, in his run with the Millennial Rebels. Still continuing on with that run, despite the fact that, of course, the Fury taking some time off, the aforementioned thickness no longer a part of them. But Colton Kelley, you don't ever know if he's coming alone. That remains to be seen. But whether he's with the Millennial Rebels, whether he's by himself, he has got to be one of the most dangerous men in Alberta Pro Wrestling.
Absolutely. But there you have it, folks. That is our roster reveal for the Force Pro Wrestling, the Prelude show. But coming up, we're going to take a quick break here, just setting things up here. Got to get the camera all in order and whatnot. We are going to have an interview with one of the women that I believe it's going to be the main event. It's got to be the main event.
It has to be the main event. If we're already announcing Dylon Stone versus Michael Richard Blais as your show opening match, you got to announce your main event. Of course, as you mentioned, Kayla Jay joining us after the break here to talk a little bit about her match with Zoe Sager. Someone I'm always excited to talk to, especially when you've got something as cool as Force Pro Wrestling to talk about.
Absolutely. We'll be back in just one. Well, for you guys, it'll be like 2 seconds, but for us, it'll be just a minute here. All right, folks, and now we are here with one half of the main event for the Prelude, Kayla Jay.
Hey. What's up? Happy to be here.
Kayla, thanks for joining us. Obviously, part of the first card of Force Pro Wrestling's return, October 18th here at 11602 119th Street. How's it feel to be part of the event?
You know what? I'm actually so pumped. I haven't been this excited in so long. Look at these gestures over here, these clowns. How can you not be excited?
Absolutely.
Hearing all the bumps in the background, all the ring stuff. Oh my God. Yeah,
It's
I'm pumped.
finally here.
Yeah.
Kayla facing off with Zoe Sager, someone you're fairly familiar with, both as a teammate, as a friend, and as an opponent.
Yes.
The proverbial rubber match between the two of you. How are you feeling going in?
Oh yeah, this is the tiebreaker. It's the first time I won. Last time, unfortunately, she won. But what are you gonna do? Like, she's my training partner. She's one of my closest friends. I know her just a little bit, so it'll be fun. I'm pumped.
What do you feel?
What? How do you feel? Sorry, Spencer, didn't mean to take it
Okay.
away.
No
here from
worries,
you.
Michael.
But I'm a little concerned. Like, the popular opinion sort of states that right now that Zoe Sager is the top women's wrestler in Alberta. What are your thoughts towards that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? What did you just say?
Popular opinion is that Zoe Sager is the top women's wrestler in Alberta right now.
Whose opinions are these?
It's going all over the scuttlebutt over social media.
You know what? Okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because by the end of the night, I can almost, actually no, I can't I promise those opinions will be changed because I've been the best for years now. So you know what? I can look past those faults those humans have. I'll carry on. This weekend will be great. Friday, the 18th. I'm ready and I'm going to be winning, so there's no doubt in my mind about it.
All right. Kayla, thanks for the time.
Absolutely.
Good
You
luck
guys
on
are
Friday.
welcome. You guys are so welcome. Thank you.
All right, folks, we're back here. Thanks to Kayla Jay for joining us on that
Yes.
interview. I don't know what. Did I
I don't know if that was at the end of that, but-
Did I hit a bad vibe there? Or
I don't know,
something?
man. I've never gotten that interviewing her before. It's
All
got
right.
to be a you thing.
Yeah, it probably isn't me. But don't forget, folks, we have Force Pro Wrestling The Prelude coming up this Friday
Yeah.
from the. Wait, my fault.
You got a text.
Keep plugging the show. I got to read this.
Thankfully, you get to hear from me now. Force Pro Wrestling, The Prelude, takes place this Friday, October 18th at 11602 119th Street. Mike, you're really distracting me, man.
The hell? What the hell? Folks, I just got a message from somebody special. Is there a reason you're wearing that shirt right now?
Got to keep the boss happy, man.
All right, we got two special announcements here. I might as well go full screen so you can see the disdain in my face.
That disdain.
First of all, I guess I can congratulate Spencer Love on being the newest correspondent for the Archer Report.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.
With every bit of good news, there's some bad news. I'm trying to spit it out properly here, and you're just grinning about this because you know how I feel about this. Due to the fact that the PWA wishes to see that their talent is utilized properly,
And they will be.
don't make this harder than it is for me. My color commentator will be overseeing the actions of Force Pro Wrestling and will be the current commissioner in Edmonton of the Pro Wrestling Alliance, Thaddeus Archer III.
A great hire by the commentary booth here in Force Pro Wrestling. Thaddeus Archer III brings an experience that very few bring to the Prairie Wrestling Alliance / Force Pro Wrestling roster, but a youthful enthusiasm that I think we can all appreciate. I know I certainly do. Thaddeus, thanks for the job. I just hope I make you happy.
What did I do to deserve this? I don't mind him being there, but why do I have to sit with him for 3 hours?
He's got to take care of the roster, man.
Folks, I'm going to make it work, and it's going to be something special. So just remember, get your tickets for the Prelude coming up this Friday. And if you can't make it, we are going to have it streamed on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live with a live look-in from the hard cam and Thaddeus and myself on commentary. So
Lots of great stuff coming up, guys. If you've got the opportunity to be here for Force Pro Wrestling, the Prelude, this Friday, October 18th, it's going to be a blast. As mentioned, we've got a lot of great wrestlers on the card. We've got a talented commentary team. We've got myself as backstage interviewer, but more importantly, we've got tons of great action coming your way, not just this Friday night, but got to stay up to date. You got to be here to find out what else is coming down the pipe for Force Pro Wrestling.
folks, I'm going to guarantee you something. Force Pro Wrestling is going to bring something to not only the Alberta wrestling scene, but the Canadian wrestling scene that you have not seen before.
Absolutely, Mike.
That's going to wrap it up here, I think. Wouldn't you think so, Spencer?
I would agree, my friend. I wanted to thank you for allowing me on the show. I don't know how much I'm going to be back after this one, seeing as I pulled the wool over your eyes on this, but excited to be here, excited to work with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, folks, on behalf of Spencer Benedict Arnold Love here, this is Mike the Ref Malowany saying thank you for checking out the Wing Column Sports Over the Top Rope Force Pro Wrestling Prelude Show here on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, and anything else we can get
Wherever
this on
you
right
put
now.
us.
And folks, I will have a special surprise coming up on the live stream, so don't forget it.
For Mike Mahoney, I'm Spencer Love.
Have a good night, folks.